Jason X. So what is Jason X all about? Well, Jason X at the very beginning of this film here, after he kills a few people, gets cryogenically frozen and he ends up in space. Hey everybody, John Franklin Reviewer here. Hope everybody's having a good day here, and there will be some spoilers throughout this here. So what is it that I really liked about this movie here? Well, first off, I want to talk about Ken Halter. This is his fourth time playing Jason here. He's a real badass. Honestly, I feel like I liked him in this one. His kills and all that, almost as good as part 7. I want to talk about Ronan. Badass I really like, who goes against Jason. At the very beginning of this film, she's like putting shotgun bullets into Jason here until he falls into the cryogenic machine. But unfortunately, she gets stabbed with his machete, puts it right through the door there, and they both get frozen there. But, you know, I liked her acting. Like I said, a real badass here. She ends up being your final girl, and I think she's actually one of the better final girls. I really do like that. Another character, KM, I want to talk about. She is the android who actually gets built by another character, kind of a love bot. I don't know if it just the way it worked out for me, the way it came out, but every time KM would talk, always seemed like it came out funny, no matter if she meant to do it or not. But unfortunately, even when she was serious, I'm like laughing every time she delivers a line, it seems like. Janessa, I liked her character because she was actually she kind of played kind of a dual role for her. She ended up being a nice person to certain people and a bitch to maybe one or two other people. But mashing that together was a good combination. That worked out real good on that. And she was one of the ones I really didn't like to die, but you had to have one final girl, and I think who we got actually worked very well. Sergeant Bronski is another one. Oh, this guy is one tough son of a bitch. He's the leader of the grunts on the ship and all that. Him and the grunts are pretty decent, but I like him. The biggest reason I really like him is I feel like he gets a lot of the great funny lines. He gets a lot of just his dialogue. He really, you know, plays this as a straight man really well, and I just love just that kind of character alone there. Now let's get to some of the deaths that I really like. So before Jason gets frozen, he actually kills about 8 people plus director David Cronenberg, and I really enjoyed that. I mean, you can definitely tell this at least sets the stage of, okay, it's gonna be a ridiculous movie, but how much Jason is back in top form, kicking some ass again, and I really like that. Yeah, anything that Jason did in this was almost nearly perfect, I gotta be honest. When he gets up to space and he unthaws, and we'll talk about the unthawing later on here, but the thing is that after he unthaws, one of the first people that he ends up killing is a female scientist. The thing is that he grabs her by the back of the head, and there was like this little sink here that was full of liquid nitrogen. He puts her face in there, her face freezes up. He pulls out her head and smashes it on the counter and just shatters her face, and that was fucking awesome right there. I love that death there. Another death that actually comes up, one of the guys gets cut up in half. He actually shoots Jason until Jason goes down, but the guy looks away, telling his boss, hey, I got Jason, you guys take your time to come get him. Jason gets right back up and slashes this guy fucking in half. And they even show a scene where he's pulling half of his body and blood smear on the floor. I thought that was awesome there too. Another death I gotta talk about was Janessa here. And the thing is that Jason actually, from the outside, after he was already Uber Jason, actually puts a hole through the ship here, and all these characters are trying to hang on while Jason does this here. And the thing is that one of the characters was Janessa, and she was hanging on to like these 2 vents. Well, one of the vents actually slipped out of her hand and actually stuck onto the wall where everything's being blown out. And then all of a sudden she says, this sucks on so many levels, and she just gets blown away. This is one of those ones I'm glad that they did show the aftermath. Now I wanted to mention about how Jason thaws out of his icy grave. Well, you got these 2 teenagers who are having sex, and they kind of go back and forth where they're having sex. They show Jason, ice starts dropping off his body here, his hand starts moving, and then all of a sudden the girl has an orgasm and Jason just sits right up and like, someone's having sex, time to kill them. Now, Uber Jason, I'm putting this in the likes, but I'm kind of neutral with it. Some people really love it and some people really hate it. But I'm one of the people, I'm kind of in the middle where, you know what? It made Jason look like a badass. Now getting to the dislike. The thing is, okay, so this movie takes place 400 years into the future. So you're probably thinking maybe no one would know who the hell Jason Voorhees is if you really wanted to go that way. But there was one character who talked about it briefly, about saying about he killed like nearly 200 people and then just slightly, and then all of a sudden disappeared. Well, hell yeah, of course he went to hell, okay? So the thing was that all of a sudden this Professor Loeb, who I gotta say has gotta be one of the stupidest characters. He only cares about himself, he cares about money. Once he hears about Jason Voorhees could be this really, you know, possibility, this really famous killer that can get locked up. Oh no, you can't. No, you fucking can't. But the thing was, I do actually like, and I should have mentioned this back in the positive. There was a scene, well, kind of positive here. There was a scene where Jason meets the professor and he talks about the same thing about how famous you are or can't you are. I can make you a lot of money, and he's negotiating with Jason, and that's the stupidest thing. You cannot negotiate with a serial killer. I don't care if it's Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, or just anybody else. You know what, you're just gonna die. And that just made me laugh. And of course the guy eventually does die, maybe about a minute or two after Jason gets his machete back. Now, talking about these two teenagers, they could not act themselves out of a bag here. Just like Professor Loeb, their acting was horrible. I mean, how even their sex scene was, you know, blah to me, honestly. But they had to find some way to wake up Jason. So, you know what? It's the only reason that really makes me laugh that they had to have that scene to get Jason to wake up. So that was actually kind of funny there, too. Some of these grunts that were under Sergeant Bronsky, I really didn't believe their performances either. They were other ones. I didn't think that a lot of them were like tough SOBs and tough bitches and all that trying to go kill Jason and all that. We really didn't know much about them anyways. That they were just seemed like just characters that kill things, and that was it. And I really wasn't thrilled about that. And then the final dislike is the special effects in this. The whole thing was space in this one. They would try, you know, again, at the time it was actually pretty good, but now looking at it about what, the movie's about 17, 18 years later, and all of a sudden it's just like every year and every time I do watch this movie, it's just every year it ages badly. So my rating on this movie is 2 out of 4 stars. So, have you seen Jason X? What's your opinion about it? Do you agree, disagree with anything I said? Give me a comment down below. I would really be curious what you actually think about it. And if you like my review and have been enjoying my series here, give me a like if you want to know any more. Give me a subscribe to my channel. So thank you guys so much for watching another movie review or a movie review series. And as always, stay awesome.